He expressed warnings to others of a force so menacing and unbeatable, it could only be described as supernatural. He called them ghosts.
Hello there, Sir from 17 once again. This is my Call of Duty Ghosts Veteran Difficulty video walkthrough. This is Mission 6, it's entitled Legends Never Die. And this is the first level I died a few times on, ironically enough. Juxtaposed to the fact that legends apparently never die, I did, so I'm not a legend. And the reason is on this sequence here, I was trying to push forward, I was trying to be aggressive, and I believe the game wants you to sit back here. It wants you to play defensively, it wants you to bide your time, it wants you to wait until things develop. Because there are tanks and there are a lot of enemies, and if you push out too quickly or you get too aggressive, I was immediately dying. And you know, in a game like this where that has never happened before, aside from a moment when a helicopter decided to hit me with some tracers, you know there's something up at that point. So all I did was I sat behind those boxes, I waited a little bit extra, and the game kind of corrected itself. It showed me where it wanted me to go. I followed my teammates, we got into this car park, and it was all nice and simple. But this level, for all intents and purposes, is a flashback where we get to play as our father, the person who's kind of been navigating us and telling us what to do on the main game. The reason for it is a narrative framework to give us a bit of backstory and exposition on Mickey Rourke, our fella over to our right, who is the antagonist of the game. He is an ex-ghost, and he's extremely mad with the ghosts, so much so that he has teamed up with the opposing army, the Federation, and he is hunting the elite ghost squads and killing them. And you might be wondering, well, why did he decide to do that? Well, I don't want to give too much away, but it involves psycho battery and torture, and, extremely persuasive, fun things. So this is you getting to see him when he was a good guy, and getting to see some of his motivations for turning into a bad guy, which is pretty cliche. It's not the most original of stories. Good guy goes bad and then hunts previous team. It's kind of like Nemesis, but a little bit more attractive. But it's still fun, and this is a fun mission. We're in, I think it's Caracas where we are. And we're using the FAD, and this is it right now. And I really do enjoy this gun. It's such an interesting gun. One of the things, I am a bit of an enthusiast when it comes to weapons. And I know most boys are. It's just kind of a man thing. But the notion gun porn to me has always been really appealing, because that's kind of what it's like. Sometimes I can just stare at them and go, ooh, like I would a fine pair of tits, just for different reasons. And any gun that looks weird or futuristic-y or completely different to the archetypes of standard guns is something that really interests me. Because just look at where weapons have come in the last 20 years, man. Just look at where they've come in the last 50 years. They're always advancing, they're always improving with technology. There's this singularity of everything moving forward, getting faster at a rapid rate. And weapons are just a necessary evil of that, because one of the things we do best as a race is kill each other, so we want some fantastic and aesthetically pleasing looking tools so that we can do exactly that. But don't worry about this sequence here, guys. You have not failed. It's all pre-planned. It's meant to happen. It's to show you that the mission kind of goes bad and that the ghosts have to make it up on their own. And I kind of like Rourke, I do. He seems like a decent guy. And don't get me wrong, the characters are not going to change your life here, folks, because they're so fucking one-dimensional. The plot and the story is about as thin as it gets, It's just one of those things where I do believe that you can tell a good story in a Call of Duty game, and I do believe you can squeeze out more gameplay. You just have to get rid of this formula of... Just imagine a chart that starts at 0 and just keeps on scaling upwards in not even a gradual curve, but just a phenomenally steep curve. And that's what it is. They're so obsessed with this explodey fucking Michael Bay linear sequence of madness that was really fun the first few times we did it, but now it's getting to the point where you completely assume it, and it's diminishing its value. It really is. It's giving it that just lacking effect on you. I mean, everything is blowing up. There's buildings coming down. There's jets flying into you. There's tanks flying. Everything's flying. You're in a tank, You're in a bloody chopper. Stuff's blowing up. There's lots of fire. It looks like the end of the world. But it looks like the end of the world so much that the impact of the end of the world is not quite the same as it would be, say, if the Rapture came. And there's no getting away from that, you know. Things do lessen the more we're exposed to them, which is how you become desensitized to violence and things like that. So I just wish they had more quiet times, more recon times, more moments where the gameplay perhaps wasn't just shoot everybody in the face. And I know that this is not the target audience that they're making the game for. It's just there's so many things you could do. And if I ever get into a position where I can have some kind of effect on a series like this, I'm definitely going to push for just more. Because there's no peaks and valleys, it's just all peaks. And without the valleys, the peaks just aren't as amazing. It's true, you know, the vistas don't look as good when you've been staring at them your entire life. I kind of feel sorry for a lot of people who are growing up in this generation of gaming, because they're so used to this. Like, first-person shooters didn't used to be like this, guys. You know, they used to be pretty mundane and grounded in reality, and now it's everything is this insanity, this collective insanity of just, oh my god, if we're not blowing up, we're on fire. And it is fun and it is silly. It's just, it's getting to the point where it's not the novelty it used to be, and they need something new. They need to get some new hook. And I think this is a really interesting mechanic here. Instead of using cover in a traditional sense, you can literally crouch and go underwater for cover, so anywhere is potential cover. And it's a really cool mechanic. I just didn't trust it when I was playing, so you're not going to see me use it too much. But if you're in a spot of bother, just crouch down and it will save your life. The AI on Veteran is pretty merciless. They do kind of know where you are a lot. It's not quite as bad as the multiplayer, but I'm going to discuss that a little bit later on. But the rest of this is just you and Rock killing some fellas, stabbing them in the femoral artery and what have you. And that right there, getting all shining on his face. Dude is crazy. But there's an achievement here for killing 6 people with the knife in the water. I got it just by playing. I did not try to get it. It's just something I got. You're probably going to see me get it in this playthrough. It's just I don't have my notifications on, so they're not going to pop and be like, yo dog, you did something good. But anyhow, YouTube, where this game's going to be hosted, and I will promote it on various sites to try and get, you know, as many people to the guide who need it, but YouTube is its home. They've changed the policy on how the comment section works on the videos, so if you're new to my channel and you're watching this and you're wondering why I've not replied to something you've asked me or something you've sent, I haven't seen it. They've changed how comments work and they've integrated Google+, and I have absolutely no interest in ever using Google+. So now it tells you the only way to monitor and reply to questions is through Google+. Then why do we have an inbox? You know, why is the facility that I've been using since I started on YouTube 3 years ago, why is it still there and not working as it should? You know, it's... Surely you could have given us an option for people who want to integrate Google Plus and have this fucking phone bullshit that it probably does. You know, and then the other people that just want to have it the way it was. You know, don't change anything, embrace the new, but stick with the old. It just doesn't make any sense. So it's now a needless interface that you have to learn to interact with your subscribers and to interact with people that are asking questions, that are curious about things. And look on any video right now, regardless of how popular it is. Like, you could even look on a PewDiePie video, and I bet his comment section is nowhere near what it was, because nobody has a fucking clue on how to leave comments. So the comment sections are literally 4 comments long of people saying, what the hell have they done? And it's extremely warranted, because it's so weird, guys. It's really fucking weird. And I'm hoping in a month's time I'm going to have completely forgotten and adapted, and it's just the norm, it's just what we do, because YouTube changes its layout so much that if you don't adapt and change, you know, you get left behind. And this is just another, you know, progression on that ladder. I'm just so against it, because it's something it's been mentioning a lot. It kept mentioning it at the top of the page, you know, you can integrate Google Plus by doing this, this, and this, and you can get all your updates on your phone and all this other stuff. It's like, I don't have a fucking phone. I don't want my updates on this imaginary phone I don't have. Stop putting me in this, stereotypical demographic of people who are obsessed with Candy Crush and do nothing but stare at fucking iPhones. I am not that person, and I will never be that person. And if you are that person, there's nothing wrong with that. I just don't do it. I'm an antisocial bastard. Why would I want everybody having an avenue to get in contact with me all the time? All that would do was interrupt the things I want to do. If I want to talk to somebody, I will go and talk to that person or find a way to do so. I'm not the guy who obsesses over social medias or any of this bullshit. But they've changed it, so we've got to get used to it, and if we don't, it's so bad. I can't understand why they would do this. I'm hoping there's some really cool advantages to it. There's some perks I've not noticed. There's something that makes this just spot on and such an intelligent choice. But it just seems like Google's forcing more shit on YouTube like it seems to do all the time. Which is going to lead me into my second topic of the video. And I'm going to preface this with a footnote. This is speculation. This is not confirmed or anything. This is just a couple of rumours spreading around YouTube that I picked up on the other day when I was watching a DSP video. And DSP is not exactly the most credible source, but one thing he does know, and that is YouTube, because it's his life at the moment. So he's very invested in it, and he's very curious about the changes that are going to affect partners. And the one thing that is being speculated at this moment in time is, thanks to a lawsuit that happened recently on YouTube, where a third-party partnership essentially got sued, and it was a lawsuit that was, you're getting sued by Google, and Google has more money than fucking Zeus has a beard. So it's pretty ridiculous. They've got so much of a revenue stream to put into lawyers and to put into getting a lot of pennies out of other people. So it's a real bad situation for any business to be in. So they sued somebody, and what is happening is, apparently now, the third-party partnerships, so if you're sponsored by somebody like TGN, like I am, or any of the other sponsorships, if you're part of those echelons, if you're under their umbrella, they are no longer going to give you the protection and the immunity from the copywriting issues. I hope this is wrong. It sounds kind of crazy. It doesn't make any sense, but there's this notion that all these companies have realised that they're at risk of these lawsuits because of the fair usage and the flexibility of this law. Because if you don't know, guys, a lot of the stuff I do on this website with my walkthroughs is protected by fair usage. Obviously this is copyrighted work, this game, but because I'm creating it, because I'm playing it, I'm editing it, and because I'm overlaying commentary, it becomes my own creative Oh, in this section here, guys, if you do not jump onto the chopper, you will fail. I did it my first time because I thought I had to shoot them. Not a fun time. Also, when it asks you to drop rock later on this sequence, if you don't do it, you'll fail as well, and it'll just keep repeating the section. You can't save him, guys. You have to let him go. Kill one to save many. But fair usage is such a tricky law where every so often they will still think that you're impeaching on their rights, and they'll still try and flag your stuff for content IDs and copyright strikes. And all that's going to be happening if this is true is the partnerships are not going to be able to bail you out because they're too afraid of this potential lawsuit that can happen. And don't be under any illusion here, guys. They're in it for themselves. They're going to support you, they're going to pay you, but when it comes to something that risks them, they're going to ultimately choose their own safety over yours. So the support that we're now getting, if you're part of these establishments, is gradually going to trickle away. They're not going to stop paying you, they're not going to stop putting ads on your stuff. It's just going to be a case of they're not going to protect you from the copyright infringements. And I was thinking when he was mentioning this, I've not really seen too much about it, and then he said something that struck a chord with me. He said that he'd had more content matches this week than he'd had in years, and I noticed that on my Batman guide I got one too, and I haven't had one of those for a long time. So this might not mean anything. It just might be that serendipity of something happening when we never expected it to. Quite fortuitous misfortune, but it's something. So fingers crossed that doesn't have any effect. But apparently this is going to be, if it happens, it's going to be the death of channels that don't have commentary, because commentary is one of the biggest things that overimposes the fair usage. It's the only real bastion we have that saves us from these infringements, and there's a lot of people that don't do that. So those channels feasibly could die, which would be a shame, but at the same time, At least it separates the people that just put gameplay up to the people that are actually trying to put something else up, something more creative up, and not everybody can commentate, so it's kind of a catch-22 for some folk. But thank you for watching, and as always, you take care now.